All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us his truth. Salutations to the sincere Akim and Akwath that may listen. May the blessing of election be upon your house. My name is Brother Raquai. I'm back in here with another quick and Lord's will, as always, an edifying lesson. And for today's lesson is going to be Remember Me, O Lord. And what inspired this lesson was I was just reading Tobit, the 14th chapter, and I'm just going to read one of the precepts in the chapter, and then just add my 2 cents. And as always, Lord willing, that this lesson may be edifying. So let's jump to Tobit, the 14th chapter. Okay, I'll start at verse 1, and it says, So Tobit made an end of praising the Most High, and he was 58 years old when he lost his sight, which was restored to him after 8 years, and gave alms, and increased in fear of the Lord thy power, and praised him. Just jumping down. So this is the point I really wanted to touch on. I'll start at verse 9, and it says, But keep thou the law and the commandments, and show thyself merciful and just, and that it may go well with thee. Bear me decently, and thy mother with me, but tarry no longer at Nineveh. Remember, my son, how Aman handled Achaeus that brought him up, and how out of the light he brought him into darkness, and how he rewarded him again. Yet Achaeus was saved, but on the other hand, but the other had his reward, for he went down into darkness. Manasseh gave alms and escaped the snares of death, which they had set for him, but Ammon fell into a snare and perished. Let me get that in the GNT. Just bear with me on this. So in the GNT it says, Tobias, my son, leave Nineveh now. Don't stay here. As soon as you bury your mother beside me, do not leave. Do not stay another night within the city limits. It is a wicked city full of immorality. The people have no sense of shame. Remember what Nadab did to Ahikar, his own uncle, who had brought him up. He tried to kill Ahikar and forced him into hiding in a tomb. Ahikar came into the light of day, but the Most High Yahweh sent Nadab down into everlasting darkness for what he had done. Ahikar escaped the deadly trap which Nadab had set for him, because Ahikar gave generously to the poor. But Nadab fell into a fatal trap, and it destroyed him. And let me just get a little on this character here. So here it says Achaeus, governor of Assyria. Achaeus is the son of Aniel, the brother of Tobit, the king of Esarhaddon, the king of Assyria, appointed him over all accounts of his kingdom and all over his affairs. And Tobit, at request, Tobit comes to Nineveh and he gives the precept. Achaeus nourishes Tobit while the latter is afflicted with disease. He attends a wedding feast of the Tobias and is persecuted by Ammon but saved. And that's really the point I really wanted to touch on, was the fact that he had these acts that he did, and eventually he was saved out of it. And that is something that can be taken and applied to us in this day and age, right? Where we're fleeing from Babylon spiritually, but from the perils to come, because the scriptures say that Esau's going to come down with great wrath, knowing because he has a short time. And because of that, these other things can serve as essentially a hedge of protection, just like this Achaia Karus in this particular situation, because he gave alms to the poor in times of need, right? And eventually when he was in a jam, he was saved out of it. So imagine more how much more can be done for us, right, in our situations and our times and in times of Jacob's trouble to come, as things are unfolding, as World War III is unfolding, right? So, well, hopefully, all this is actually adding together and making sense. So let me go to what really inspired the topic. This is Habakkuk 3 verse 2, and it says, O Lord, Yahweh, I have heard thy speech and was afraid. O Lord, revive thy work in the midst of the years, and in the midst of the years make known. In wrath, remember mercy. Right? And that's what we want. That we want the mercies of David, essentially, like it talks about in Isaiah 55 verse 3, right? And that is very, very important, especially in these times, because we're in a situation where you cannot keep the laws 100% to the T. There's a lot of us, for example, even myself, we have to go to work on the Sabbath, right? So the point is, there are certain things that we can do, and that, what does that translate to? That translates into spiritual riches that can be served and can be cashed out, in a rainy day. Kind of like there's a saying in the world, for example, there is I want to store up some rainy day money, right? And people in the world, they take this as okay, actual and literal money, right? And but I'm taking this example from Tobit is explaining that we can apply the same situation for our rainy day money, because the rain is upon us, right? So let's get a precept. Actually, let me go back to Tobit. Tobit chapter 12, verse 9, and it reads, For alms doth deliver from death, and shall purge away all sin. So those that exercise alms and righteousness shall be filled with life, right? And these are things that can serve as that particular hedge of protection, when we go through, Jacob's trouble, right? And that can serve as, mercy, being provided by the Heavenly Father through His Son during these times, right? Because when you read about the different things that are going to be taking place on the earth, cannibalism, and the love of many really shall be waxed cold. Isaiah 19 goes into the Egyptians against the Egyptians. It's going to be a lot of sedition. People are not going to regard their kings and their princes and so on and so forth, like all these different things. Like, we need a divine intervention. We need protection during these times, right? So that's really the point and the objective of this lesson, is really to actually things to actually do, and these things can serve as that force field that protects us from the perils, the dangers, right? So because Yahweh Bashim is going to bring this judgment anyway, right? So the point is to add in particular actions to to receive that, so we can kind of collect our rainy day money and then be able to cash it out when we need it, essentially, right? Let me get just give me 1 second. Okay, Luke chapter 12, verse 16, and it reads, I'm going to read it in the NLT, so just bear with me. And it says, Then he told them a story. A rich man had fertile farm that produced fine crops. He said to himself, what should I do? I don't have room for all my crops. Then he said, I know, I'll tear down my barns and build bigger ones. Then I'll have room enough to store all my wheat and other goods. Verse 19. And I'll sit back and say to myself, my friend, I have stored I have enough stored away, for years to come. Now, take it easy, eat, drink, be merry. Verse 20. But Yahweh said to him, You fool, you will die this very night. Then you will have, you will have, you, then who will you get everything you were, who will, let me read that again. Then who will get everything you worked for? Yes, a person is a fool to store up earthly wealth, but not have a rich relationship with Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. And this is very, very, very interesting because you actually see the mentality, and this is the mentality with Jake today. And it's very funny because this is the same thing that happens. This has been happening, and it can still continues to happen, because you know I'll read verse 15 actually, and it says, take, and he said unto them, Yahushua speaking, take heed and beware of covetousness, for a man's life consisteth not in the abundance of the things which he possesseth, right? And our people don't seem to understand the importance of actually having spiritual riches, you know and Esau has really done a great job in messing with the minds of our people, because our people, they really just want to be like him and emulate him and his society and have his quote unquote ideal life, and be like with the white picket fence and the nice wife and children, and nice backyard and so on and so forth, and have all these good things. There's nothing wrong with if somebody actually has these things. The point that is really, really emphasized upon is the man strongly devoted his mind and his life towards developing these earthly things, and you can't take any of these things with you. And he didn't have a rich and healthy relationship with Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. He actually had the latter, right? And having that, you know, um, is so critical and so important, right? Because through Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, I should be able to actually be able to acquire wisdom and be able to help navigate through particular things, right? And actually have an understanding when you go through bad things, right? That's very comforting as well. Very, very comforting. And that's that's an understanding that people don't have, you know. So to this day, because they're so caught up in actually trying to quote unquote build up the community, so to speak, but they don't actually have a rich relationship with our Heavenly Father through his Son, right? So that's really the point I really wanted to stress in this particular lesson, because you saw the way this individual was able to Akia Karis was able to avoid a scary and even close to a life-threatening situation, because he actually had that relationship, because he actually practiced those things that Toby spoke about, the alms, right? And having those righteousness, those acts of righteousness stored up, so he was able to kind of cash in on his investment essentially, right? So I guess I ended off with one more, but hopefully, this all ties together and actually makes sense. Okay, this is Proverbs 11:4, and it says, "Riches profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivereth from death." Right, so that's cut straight to the point. But anyways, I just wanted to bring that out because the riches don't do anything. These earthly riches, I should say, excuse me, don't do anything in a day of wrath, because it actually, even in a day of wrath, it actually can make you a target, right? And that's another thing that's going to happen to a lot of these people, right? That actually have all these different heavy riches, right? All these earthly riches, and even when you die, you can't take it anyway. Like, look at, for example, Michael Jackson. You can't take all that estate, all those millions and billions of dollars that he acquired. you know a lot of people don't take it. They can't take it anywhere, right? So people don't seem to understand the importance of having a healthy relationship with Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai is very, very important, especially in these times. But anyways, I'll leave it there. I don't want to make the lesson too long, but hopefully this lesson was edifying, and I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, Bashim Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us his truth. Till next time, I say Shalom.